In the 1970s, hits came out of nowhere, took over the radio, lit up the dance floors, and then vanished, along with the artists who made them. They had just one moment in the spotlight, but for a few minutes, they were the biggest stars in the world. One-hit wonders? Maybe. But today, they're back to remind you why that one song was unforgettable. In 1970, as rock music was growing heavier and more experimental, a British band called Free did something refreshingly simple and powerful. All Right Now was born backstage after a lackluster gig. Bassist Andy Fraser was frustrated by the crowd's reaction and sat down to write a riff that would hit harder. What came out was a raw, bluesy anthem that would define the band's legacy. With Paul Rodgers' soulful, commanding vocals and a riff that punched through the speakers, the track shot to the top 5 in both the UK and US. Despite the song's massive success, internal tensions soon pulled the band apart. Rodgers and drummer Simon Kirke would go on to form Bad Company, but Free never matched the cultural impact of this single. Released in 1970, Spirit in the Sky was a song that defied all expectations and still became a global hit. Norman Greenbaum, a Jewish singer-songwriter from California, wrote what sounded like a gospel rock anthem about Jesus, salvation, and the afterlife. And somehow, the world sang along. With its gritty, fuzzed-out guitar riff, hand claps, and a driving beat, the song rocketed to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and hit number 1 in the UK, where it became a cultural phenomenon. The idea for the song came from an unlikely place. Greenbaum had been watching a gospel performance on TV and thought, I can write one of those. Despite not being religious, he captured the spirit and the groove in a way that resonated across generations. In 1970, few songs hit as hard or as dirty as Mountain's Mississippi Queen. With its thunderous riff, blistering cowbell, and Leslie West's gravel-thick vocals, the track crashed into the rock scene like a bar brawl with a Marshall stack. It peaked at number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100, but its legacy far outgrew the charts. The song became an anthem for bikers, dive bars, and every guitarist who's ever cranked their amp just to feel the floor shake. The lyrics were born out of a jam session, with Mississippi Queen first shouted as a joke. But once the band heard it over that riff, they knew they had something loud and unforgettable. In 1972, a Dutch duo with a quirky name, Mouth and McNeil, pulled off something few European acts had managed. They cracked the American top 10 with a song that felt like pure sunshine. Willem Duin, known as Mouth, brought grit and volume, while Maggie McNeil added a smooth, melodic balance. Together, they created a sound that was as catchy as it was unpredictable. The song's hook was simple, universal, a melodic "How do you do" repeated with such charm. It made language barriers irrelevant. It became a hit across Europe, the US, and even parts of Asia. But as quickly as they rose, the duo parted ways. While both artists continued their careers separately, neither would match the global splash of this one song. In 1972, two Scottish musicians, Gerry Rafferty and Joe Egan, set out to poke fun at the music industry and accidentally wrote a classic. Stuck in the Middle with You began as a parody of Bob Dylan's vocal style, complete with nasal delivery, jangly acoustic guitar, and clever, biting lyrics. It paints a scene of a confused artist caught between clowns to the left and jokers to the right, a thinly veiled jab at record execs, managers, and industry nonsense. Ironically, the song became a huge success. It reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and found fans on both sides of the Atlantic. But Steeler's wheel couldn't replicate the magic. Rafferty left soon after, and no follow-up ever matched the reach of that one perfect track.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone.
In the early 70s, a time of cultural tension and transition, Johnny Nash delivered a breath of calm with I Can See Clearly Now. Released in 1972, the song blended reggae rhythms with smooth pop melodies and heartfelt optimism. Its message was simple but powerful. that better days are coming and the storm has passed. That sentiment struck a chord worldwide. The track reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a global hit. Johnny Nash wasn't just a pop singer. He was a bridge between worlds. He recorded in Kingston, Jamaica, and was one of the first American artists to champion reggae on an international scale. He even helped introduce Bob Marley to global audiences, producing some of his early tracks. With a title that sounds like a rallying cry, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo hit the airwaves in 1973 like a shot of adrenaline. Rick Derringer, already known for his work with the McCoys and Johnny Winter, finally stepped into the spotlight with this solo anthem. Powered by a ripping guitar riff, a catchy chorus, and gritty vocals, the track became his signature. The song fuses blues rock and hard rock with pure youthful energy. It's a celebration of good times, loud guitars, and living fast, everything rock stood for in the early 70s. In 1974, the American band Sugarloaf fired back at the music industry with sharp sarcasm and a killer hook. Don't Call Us, We'll Call You was born out of frustration. After being rejected by major labels, Sugarloaf turned their disappointment into satire. The song is packed with inside jokes about the business, a fake phone call to CBS Records, mockery of record execs, and musical Easter eggs like riffs from the Beatles' I Feel Fine. Against all odds, the song became a hit, climbing into the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, ironically, with the help of the very industry it mocked. It even outperformed their earlier hit, Green-Eyed Lady, but proved to be their final major success. In 1974, before the world had even heard of Donna Summer, a smooth, sensual beat lit up dance floors around the globe. George McRae's Rock Your Baby. With its velvet vocals, mellow groove, and warm synthesizers, the song is widely regarded as one of the first true disco hits. It reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and top charts in over 80 countries, including the UK. The track was written by two then unknowns, Harry Wayne Casey and Richard Finch, who would soon form KC and the Sunshine Band. McRae wasn't even the original choice to sing it, but when the intended vocalist didn't show up, George stepped in and recorded the final take in just one take. Despite the song's massive success, McRae never achieved the same level of fame again. In 1974, martial arts mania was sweeping across the globe, and Carl Douglas captured the moment with one of the decade's most unexpected and infectious hits, Kung Fu Fighting. Originally recorded as a B-side in just 10 minutes, the track was produced by Bidu, a key figure in the emerging disco scene. With its exaggerated hi-ya shouts, funky groove, and Eastern-inspired flute riffs, the song exploded onto the airwaves. Kung Fu Fighting sold over 11 million copies, hit #1 on both the US and UK charts, and became an international novelty sensation, covered and parodied around the world. You might not recognize the name Blue Swede, but the moment you hear that Ooga Chaka chant, it all comes rushing back.
I can't stop this feeling.
Originally recorded by B.J. Thomas in 1968, Hooked on a Feeling got a bizarre and brilliant makeover in 1974. The Swedish band Blue Swede added the now iconic tribal intro, taken from a 1971 cover by British singer Jonathan King, and turned the song into a psychedelic pop gem. Their version shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making them one of the first Swedish acts to top the US charts, long before ABBA became a household name. Hooked on a Feeling found new life decades later thanks to its prominent use in Guardians of the Galaxy 2014, sparking sing-alongs across generations. Smooth, soulful, and effortlessly cool, How Long by British band Ace quietly became one of the most beloved soft rock tracks of the 70s. Released in 1974, the song climbed to #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned heavy radio play on both sides of the Atlantic. Much of its magic comes from Paul Carrack's rich, velvety voice, a sound that would define his future success. While many listeners assumed the lyrics were about a cheating lover, the truth was far more musical. The song was inspired by a bandmate secretly rehearsing with another group behind Ace's back. Carrick's delivery turned that subtle betrayal into a timeless melody. Ace never reached the same level of success again, and they disbanded just a few years later. But How Long lived on, not just as their signature hit, but as a classic moment in 70s soft rock history. This Scottish band, fronted by David Payton and Billy Lyle, captured lightning in a bottle with a song that felt like pure sunshine. With its dreamy vocals, crisp guitar lines, and upbeat tempo, Magic soared into the top 5 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and became a defining soft rock anthem of the decade. The song was polished, radio-friendly, and irresistibly catchy, a perfect example of early power pop. While Pilot didn't replicate its chart success, Magic lived on through movie soundtracks, commercials, and even modern covers, including one by Selena Gomez. In 1974, a Brazilian singer with a soft voice and a heartfelt melody took the world by surprise. With its melancholic piano line, soaring chorus, and lyrics about lost love, Feelings became an international phenomenon, reaching the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, earning a Grammy nomination and selling over 8 million copies worldwide. The song's raw emotion and universal theme made it an instant favorite across continents, despite Albert being virtually unknown outside of Brazil at the time. It was covered by countless artists, including Nina Simone and Julio Iglesias. It also became a pop culture staple, often parodied but never forgotten. In 1978, Canadian rocker Nick Gilder struck gold with a provocative glam pop anthem, Hot Child in the City. With its sleek guitars, soaring falsetto vocals, and a gritty urban vibe, the song climbed all the way to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, a rare achievement for a solo Canadian artist at the time. Gilder wrote the track after witnessing runaway teens on the streets of Hollywood, wrapped in the glitter and danger of city life. While the lyrics sparked controversy for their ambiguous subject matter, the song's groove and radio appeal made it undeniable. Despite its massive success, Gilder would never replicate the hit again as a solo artist. Interestingly, he went on to find greater success as a songwriter, most notably penning the hit The Warrior for Patti Smith and Scandal. In 1978, California-based band player topped the charts with a heartfelt soft rock ballad. Baby, come back. Any kind of fool. Written by Peter Beckett and J.C. Crowley after a real-life breakup, the song bleeds with regret and longing, every lyric a plea, every note drenched in raw emotion. With its smooth harmonies, soul-inspired guitar licks, and lush production, Baby Come Back resonated deeply with audiences. It soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming one of the defining tracks of the yacht rock era, a genre known for its polished sound and emotional vulnerability. I wanna kiss you all over. In 1978, American band Exile delivered one of the decade's most seductive hits, Kiss You All Over. With its smooth synths, soft rhythm, and sultry lyrics, the song spent 4 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, dominating radio airwaves and dance floors across the country. Written by hitmakers Mike Chapman and Nicky Chinn, better known for their glam rock anthems, this track leaned into slow, burning sensuality. The song's moody production and emotional tension made it a staple of late 70s slow dances and romantic playlists. Despite its massive pop success, Exile took an unexpected turn after Kiss You All Over, transitioning fully into country music. They found longevity in that space, but never again had a mainstream crossover hit like this one.
Everybody talk about pop music. Talk about pop music.
In 1979, as punk began to fade and disco ruled the charts, a strange and futuristic sound emerged. Pop music by the British Project M, led by Robin Scott. With robotic vocals, synthetic beats, and a minimalist groove, the track broke new ground, blending pop sensibilities with emerging electronic music years before synth-pop exploded in the 80s. Pop music reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, a surprising feat for such an experimental single at the time. The lyrics were both playful and satirical, poking fun at pop music cliches while fully embracing them. Although Robin Scott never replicated its success, the song became hugely influential. Its sound paved the way for acts like Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, and even U2, who used the song to open their Pop Mart tour in the late 90s. Pop music didn't just capture the end of a musical era, it helped shape the beginning of the next. In 1979, at the peak of the disco craze, a shimmering electronic beat rang out across dance floors everywhere. Ring My Bell, performed by Anita Ward. With its pulsing rhythm, twinkling synths, and signature electronic bell sound, the song quickly soared to the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 R&B and disco charts, a rare triple triumph. The song was written by Frederick Knight, initially intended for a teen singer. But when Anita Ward recorded it, her mature, sultry delivery gave the track an entirely new layer of meaning, both playful and provocative. Despite the global success, Ward never had another major hit. Label issues and the collapse of the disco boom shortly after left her career stalled.
Yes, we were born to be alive.
In 1979, a French artist with a cane, flashy outfits, and a contagious groove released one of disco's most iconic anthems, Born to Be Alive. Written and performed by Patrick Hernandez, the track exploded in Europe before making its way to the US, where it climbed into the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a global sensation. With its driving beat, euphoric hook, and celebratory spirit, the song captured the final wave of disco fever. Hernandez initially recorded the track in Belgium, backed by local producers. A fun fact, among his early tour dancers was a then-unknown Madonna, just starting her career in New York.